Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 584 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Please, once again, like and subscribe if you love up-to-the-date DC movie, games, shows, content right here on the Ping Pong Flix Show. So let's get on with the daily updates as we get closer and closer to DC FanDome, in which we'll get a lot of new things, not only movies, TV series, comics, games. Like I said, games. Finally, we're getting more Warner Brother games, more DC games, and one of those was teased today by Warner Brother Games Montreal. They seemingly tease a Batman Court of Owls game. Here it is. This is from their Twitter account, Warner Brother Games Montreal, and they don't say much around here, teasing some numbers, possibly a date and time. As you get further into this little, just like a real quick glimpse of something there. What was that little glimpse, right? So here we go. So a new cryptic video has just been posted by Warner Brother Games Montreal's account, hinting at new DC game that will be announced this Saturday. Here are a couple of screen caps showing two new symbols, one clearly tied to the Court of Owls. There's some screen caps here, and of course right there, that's an owl. That's an owl. Hoot hoot. That is an owl. So there you have it. It's clearly tied to the Court of Owls. It's clearly a rumored game that been talked about for many years, in which people said, what would be a great Batman game? Court of Owls. There's a little bit more encryption here as people are going into the codes and things like that and looking into it even more. And so if you're really interested and intrigued by these little tidbits, you can go and check out starting from the redacted accounts right here as people go into the IP address. It's kind of like a really cool virtual game just to kind of interact with and figure out the code for this thing. And maybe you'll even have to do some of that detective work within the game itself. But yeah, good job on the code. The download button does work. One step closer. What I think is probably Gotham right there. So Warner Brother Games Montreal teasing a Batman Court of Owl games. I can't wait to play that game. All right, the next thing that's been teased at DC FanDome, or coming to DC FanDome rather, is actually a trailer itself. A trailer, Wonder Woman 1984 DC FanDome trailer. Apparently, it's been rated. This is coming from trailer, -track.com. In the pipeline, new Wonder Woman 1984 trailer rated ahead of DC FanDome. With DC FanDome on August 22nd just days away, we are now getting a better sense of what exactly to expect at the upcoming DC Comics online convention event Warner Brothers is putting together. A new trailer for Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984, which was initially due to debut with the 10th anniversary re-release of Inception this month, has been rated by the Cubic Ratings Board today, ahead of the release of Christopher Nolan's Tenet in Canada on August 27th. And we expect it online as part of the special event. As you see right here, version 2A, the trailer is general audience, G-rated. There is, I'm guessing, some action within this that is set to feature an all-new sneak peek at the upcoming film at the Warner Brother 84 panel. Kicks off the 24 hours of FanDome at 1800 British Standard Time, or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday, August 22nd. And I think we'll probably get to see this online, as it's one of those main trailer events once it's released. I don't know if it'll be released online right then that day. I'm expecting it's probably gonna release on Monday, right? It gives people access and keep going back to that panel to make sure they catch it, or on the encore event rather than skipping the FanDome in general altogether and just going straight online for the online trailers, right? So expect that it's probably not going to release officially online until like maybe Monday, and that's my guess in any case. And if it still does, it released online real quickly afterward. That's okay too. I'm all up for that, and then I can keep watching it over and over along with the other trailers, right? So let's talk about anything else, any updates for the other probably panels or any other information in regards to the other DC films. Shazam 2 has some interesting tidbits about this, right? And this is actually coming from Mr. Batflick. They've asked a Pony Smasher, who's David Sandberg, some questions over on Instagram. And here's one of them right now. Do you guys have a name for Shazam 2? And he says yes. So essentially, is it Shazam 2? I'm thinking it's probably called something else. I'm thinking it's going to be Shazam and has a little subheader or subtitle to it rather than just being called Shazam 2. That's my guess, but he didn't really quite, went more into detail with that. Maybe we'll find out at the panel on Saturday. There's another thing. What aspect of Shazam would you like to improve the most in the sequel, right? He says a lot of things. It's why I'm eager to make another one. A chance to improve on things like the action sequences, things we didn't have time to get right with the suits, some of the CGI, etc. You learn so much on every movie that you can't wait to make another one and make use of all you've learned. And I like Shazam, the first Shazam movie. It was a fun movie. It was family oriented, even though there was some swearing, and there's some horrific moments that my kids would even stay in the room if I rewatched that conference room scene. But there are problems. The action sequences, of course, the CGI could have been better, and of course, maybe the suits. I didn't mind the suits too much. I can see the padding and all, but I can see that maybe they want to work on that. But that's great with a bigger budget. With a bigger, budget, you can actually do a lot of those things and actually make it more improvements to it. And David wanting to improve it is a good thing. He probably wanted to look and feel and have action a certain way, but with the budget constraints from the first one, he wasn't able to do so. So it seems like he's excited to go forward with the sequel, of course, and make it bigger, better, and badass. So I'm really looking forward to see what he's going to do with Shazam 2. And some of those questions were in regards to, well, is it anything, or Shazam 2 is coming out. They're going to shoot Shazam sequel. And there's also going to be the Black Adam movie, which is essentially in the same universe, right? I mean, that is his arch nemesis. What kind of things would he be involved with Black Adam? And in this case, Dave Sandberg has none, really. Are you involved with the Black Adam movie? And he says, nope, but very curious to find out more about what they're doing. That gets me intrigued, is that they know at a certain point where Black Adam may show up. But in this case, Dwayne Johnson is not involving him in that part. He says, we're probably going to do our own movie. And at that jumping off point to Shazam 3, probably, then we'll have Black Adam involved. Because I'm thinking if they're working on Black Adam and Black Adam is supposed to meet and possibly, maybe even tease in Shazam 2, I'm thinking they would have already talked to David on where they're going with Black Adam and how Black Adam's going to arrive to the modern world, to the Shazam world, right? To David Sandberg Shazam. And if he's not inquiring or talking to them about that at this stage and point, I'm thinking he's probably not going to show up in Shazam 2. Maybe even just hinted at the end, maybe another post-credit scene, perhaps. That could be something more likely than truly involving Black Adam in the sequel, which would mean Shazam 3 would have, like they've been talking about, Shazam 3 would have Shazam versus Black Adam. And, hopefully Superman's involved in that as well. But there's another movie that's been talked about. And I'm actually going to share with you this post. This was actually posted a few days ago, but I felt like would be a good time to talk about it now, since I'm talking about multiple panels coming out at DC FanDome and the teases that go with it. And this was in regards to Aquaman 2. Now, in terms of Aquaman 2, there's not much right now that we can actually talk about Aquaman 2, to be quite honest, because they haven't filmed anything. And if they haven't filmed anything, then what is there to talk about? But it has to be at a concept stage. There must be something, a preview of something, right? Or at least an idea of what that will be. And according to James Wan, Aquaman will have more horror. This is what he said in terms of one of the questions that a fan submitted to DC FanDome for the Aquaman 2 panel that was answered online. Here you go.
I would say yes. Just like the first movie had a touch of my horror sensibility in it, in regards to the trench sequence, I would say there'll be a little bit of that in this next one. I think it's something that's a big part of who I am, and it just naturally comes out in these kind of films, and especially a movie like Aquaman, where the story takes place in these underwater worlds that can be very scary. And so naturally, my love for the horror genre just means that I latch myself to these scenes and try to kind of give them a little bit more of my scary sauce on them.
So that question was from our very own Amberish at Amber17 from India. Asked, the trench scene was my favorite scene from Aquaman. Mine as well, actually. Can we expect more such horror touches in Aquaman 2? And he says yes. In terms of underwater, it is kind of a scary place if you really think about it. And for James Wan, who has that horror sensibility, he says is pretty much. Of course, we're probably going to see more of that. Maybe a lot. Maybe even the lengthier versions of that in Aquaman 2 as they explore the depths of the deep of the ocean, the mysteries, the horror, and it's terrifying. It can be very terrifying, and that's something I think they'll explore a lot more. And I can't wait to see what they have in mind for Aquaman 2. So that is Aquaman 2 in terms of what if are we going to have any more horror? And of course, people who know James Wan, who know about horror, who know about his Conjuring and all the different movies that he was involved with in Insidious and so on and so forth. Of course, we're going to have some horror to that, right? So the next thing is actually about Zack Snyder's Justice League right now, right? So we got a tease yesterday, and I talked about in my past video in terms of it's 6 more days till DC FanDome, or Zack Dome for what we've been calling it, because it's gonna blow the roofs of the dome itself. Now, Sean O'Connell had put an article out on Cinema Blend. Zack Snyder shares a new Justice League photo that will get Snyder Cut fans hyped. Now, as we all know, we've seen this photo before. This set right here, and this actually comes from the ending scene of Justice League, right? So now we know that this for a fact that he did shoot, at least in this set, not sure of this scene, but at least in this set, this was part of his set, right? And we know this is like the Hall of Justice, was going to be a Hall of Justice. 6 chairs, but room for more. Sure, this looks like a set. The ladder, the chains, you can see the green screen in the distance, knowing that this is a build Zack Snyder likely used on his Justice League back when the movie was still his Justice League. But fans in the know understand what this location is. It's Zack Snyder's Hall of Justice, which will be constructed from the rundown Wayne Manor that was seen on display in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It will have a table big enough for at least 6. Maybe more. Remember the scene from the theatrical cut of Justice League, as you've seen here? That's mostly Joss Whedon footage None of us want to see Joss Whedon footage, not in any way, shape, or form. We are all very excited to see how Zack Snyder filmed the presentation of the room that eventually would serve as the Hall of Justice, the headquarters for DC's finest Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and maybe a Green Lantern. That would unite the seven as Snyder once promised. And don't forget Martian Manhunter, I'm just saying. Let's take our speculation one step further. Ask yourself, why is Zack Snyder choosing to show us the Hall of Justice as a tease for the trailer presentation of his Justice League, which is coming to HBO Max in 2021? In the theatrical cut, the location was used as a tease for future adventures. It arrives quite literally at the very end of the movie. It set up future stories for this newly formed team. Future stories that we haven't yet been able to see, mainly because Joss Whedon's version of the movie drove the franchise into the ground. Is Snyder sharing an image of the Hall of Justice because he too is teasing future stories that could follow his Zack Snyder's Justice League? It's a burning question that his dedicated fans really want answered, right? And hopefully we'll get that answer, or at least a hint of it, as we get into DC fandom. What did you mean to post this, Zack? Are you saying, as you're saying, this scene exists in Zack Snyder's Justice League? The Hall of Justice is in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is used as a jumping off point to, I don't know, forming the actual Justice League, right? And future sequels. Are you saying that because this scene is going to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we are definitely, or at least hinting at getting the actual sequel to Justice League Part 2, Justice League Part 3? I'm really intrigued by this, and I think this is a very curious, makes me very hopeful. Sean O'Connell seems to have, rubbed the tinfoil off of my own head, and I gotta say, it's an amazing theory, and I think I'm gonna buy into it for now, unless we know more at DC fandom. But because that was the 6-day mark, I gotta mention that it is now 5 more days till ZackDome. 5 more days till ZackDome. Of course, Zack could not help it but tease us that in 5 days we're gonna go get to see Zack Snyder's Justice League, the full trailer, and and actually just watch it over and over again. Never see the light outside our rooms as we're watching this on our monitors and our TVs until the next thing that he drops. But in 5 days, we're getting it. We're getting it at DC fandom, and I can't wait to get it. This particular one he dropped today is a picture, right? It's a picture from, and I think we have a little bit of snippet of what this is from. It's from this scene where she says invasion. She's working on the actual statue over here. And that's interesting, right? So an interesting set of photos that we've got. So this is the 5 days. So this is my theory. My theory is that these are scenes. He's teasing possible scenes we're going to be seeing in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the trailer. The trailer. We're going to be seeing a scene of Hall of Justice, and then we're also going to be seeing a scene from the museum where she's working on it. And that was in the trailer too. It's an invasion. How was your weekend, Diana? So I think that's what this is. Now, my good friend Kenny had another theory. And I don't know if he posted it, but it's a really good one, right? He could be just teasing a little bit about DC fandom in general, using pictures. Hall of Justice or Hall of Heroes, where all the panels are going to be. Hall of Heroes. Hall of Heroes. What did you do this weekend, Diana? Oh, nothing much. This weekend. Hall of Heroes this weekend. Of course, we're going by just 2 pictures and maybe tinfoiling it a little too much, as we have nothing to go by but 2 pictures on 2 different sets. And it's driving us insane. But it makes us even more excited as we get closer and closer to what is going to be an incredible Zack Snyder extravaganza, along with other DC film content and DC game content and DC series and shows content, and a clear vision, a clear view of how this multiverse is going to head, where this multiverse is going to head, and how are they going to put it all together. So that is exciting in itself. I cannot wait. I'm really, really, really excited for that. And if you are excited too, make sure to click like and subscribe to this channel, as I give you continuous update every single day as we get closer to DC FanDome and into DC entertainment in general for the future and beyond. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll see you next time.